Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to install the 12 mode rapid fire kit from Wordene mods. Alright, so let's get to what's inside the bag here. You guys can see a couple of resistors here. There's going to be a total of 4 resistors, 3 220 ohm resistors, and 1 10k ohm resistor. Alright, there's going to be some solder, some 30 gauge kind of wire, some LEDs, and the mod chip itself. So now we're going to get to what you guys are going to need to install this mod. You guys are going to need a controller here. This is going to be for the Matrix 2 install, so you make sure it's a Matrix 2. You're going to need a soldering iron. 15 to 30 watts would be the best option. Also a torque safe security bit screwdriver. You're going to need something sharp, such as a little pocket knife or an X-Acto knife should work. Some tweezers are recommended, and also some flux. Helps your soldering job go smoother and easier. Also, I'm going to be using my brass coil tip cleaner for my soldering iron, and that's it. So if you guys can see here on the chip itself, on the top left corner, there's going to be a little indent that's going to mark the first pin that's going to need to be placed on the bottom left corner when you go to place your chips. So the first pin should be on the bottom left corner. Alright, now once you're done with that, I'm just gonna apply some flux to the pins and some solder. Alright, should be real easy to do. Now I just cleaned off the chip here, and what I like to do usually when I solder the wire is solder the whole entire roll of the wire and I like to do this with every pin, and just solder it to the first pin and measure out where your next connection is going to be, and then cut it. That way you get a precise amount of wire, so you don't have too excess wire or too little wire. Now what you're going to need to be soldering here is going to be on this 3-pin little thing here. You guys can see there's going to be 2 on the left side and 1 on the right, or 2 on the bottom and 1 on top. Now if you guys can see where you need to get to, you're going to need to solder it to the alone pin right there. It's going to be real easy to do. Alright, so that's all you need to do for the first pin. Now for the second pin, you guys are going to want to solder one of your 220 ohm resistors. You want to solder that to the second pin. You also going to solder some wire to the other end of that resistor. I did that already. So all you have to do is grab the other end of that wire long enough to reach the bottom side of the 4th player LED, and that's all you have to do. It's gonna be real easy to do. Just have a little bubble of solder, don't have too much solder, or you might just accidentally take off the whole LED. So just a little tap, don't hold it on there for too long, or you're just gonna burn your motherboard. Alright, so once you're done with that, you want to grab one of your other 220 ohm resistors and bend an L-shaped kind of to it, kind of how I did to the previous 220 ohm resistor. And if you guys can see there, right next to the wire, there's going to be 3 little solder points. You're going to want to solder that to the middle pin of those 3, and it's going to need to be facing on the other side of the board there. If you guys are just doing it how I'm doing it. Alright, then all you're gonna have to do is cut off the other end of that resistor and solder some wire to it. I'm gonna be soldering the whole roll of wire. If you guys are, it's a little technique I like to do to keep my wires nice and organized. Alright. So that other wire is gonna need to go to the third pin. Since I like to keep my wires nice and short, I'm gonna have to use some tweezers to solder to the third pin. As it's pretty short and my fingers are just gonna get in the way. Now once you're done with that, you're gonna solder wire to the fourth pin of the chip here. And that's gonna be going right next to the sync button. Alright, this is gonna be a chip similar to the first one you soldered to. You wanna solder it to the top pin of those two shown. Alright. Now you wanna grab your 10K ohm resistor and bend 2 hooks on each side. And you're gonna be soldering that to the first and fourth pin. Alright, the first and fourth pin. Should be real easy to do. Now for the same thing you did on the other side with the middle pin of those three, it's going to be on the opposite side. It's going to be 3 pins that look the same. You want to solder to the middle one. And then you want to cut the other end of that resistor and solder wire to the 5th pin. And you want to solder the other end of that wire to the other end of that resistor. Make sure it's long enough to go around that little screw hole there. You don't want to accidentally pinch your wire and damage your mod. So make sure it goes around that. You want to solder wire to the 5th pin. Or 6th pin, I'm sorry. Alright. That's going to need to be going on the bottom of those 3 pins. It's going to be going on the bottom one of those 3. In my case, it's going to be the top because I have the controller upside down, as it makes it much easier to get to. Alright. Now you're going to want to grab your pocket knife or whatever you chose. If you guys can see here, if you're going to be holding your controller right side up, you're going to need to take a layer of that black coating on the left side of those. And if you're going to be doing a jump shot, you're going to do it on the A button, but on the top side. So that's all there is to it. You're going to expose some copper. And then you're going to solder a wire to the 7th pin, long enough to go around the sides and reach. Just tuck it in on the sides. Alright, and you're going to want to solder it to the exposed piece of copper that you scraped off. Or that you exposed by scraping off that black layer. Alright, it's going to be real easy. Alright, you can hear I tucked in the wires through the sides. And all you're going to want to do is, for the last pin, is solder a wire to the 8th pin of the chip. And that's going to need to be going to the top of those 3 pins. Alright. There you go. Now once you have your controller back together and you want to try out your mod, all you have to do is tap the sync button to turn it on. Now once you've done that, you want to scroll through the modes. Just hold on the right trigger and tap the sync button a number of times, which equals the mode you want to get to. You have to tap the sync button in the row. Alright. It's going to be real easy and simple. Alright. Now hold on the left trigger if the mode is adjustable, and it'll put you in programming mode. Which then you can tap the right trigger to increase and the left trigger to decrease the shots per second. Alright. Now all you have to do is tap the sync button to put you back in rapid fire mode. Real simple. Now if you want to restore your factory settings, just hold on the right triggers as you turn on your controller. It's going to be real simple. And your 4th player LED should start blinking pretty fast. Now to calibrate the mod, just hold down the sync button as you turn on the controller. Should take a few tries, but your fourth player LED should start flashing. Now then you just hold down your left trigger and release it. Hold down your right trigger and then release it. And just tap the sync button until the fourth player LED turns solid. Now once you're done with that, then that means your controller is calibrated. Alright, that's all there is to it. And thank you guys for watching. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Alright guys.